Thank you. Of Kano, distinguished members of the Senate Committee on Establishment and Public Service, the Chairman, House Committee on Pensions, Honorable Kabiru Hassan Usman Ruru, Turaki Rano, honorable members of the House Committee on Pensions, the Director General, National Pension Commission, trustees of Pension Fund Operators Association of Nigeria, our able president of PenOp, the CEOs of different operators here present, members of the press, welcome to today's ceremony. I believe we've rested, we've been here since yesterday, and today is we believe today we're going to have a better time. And at the end of the day, our distinguished guests, distinguished senators and honorable members will be more informed about what the pension industry stands for. My name is Winston Ideva. I am the consultant to PenOp, and I welcome you most sincerely. In your bag, you have all the program, all the papers that were presented is in your bag, and we are going to follow the program such that we'll be able to complete quite on time. May I most respectfully welcome our President, Mrs. Ronke Adedeji, to give us our welcome address.
Mr. Ehilene Obioma, Head of Surveillance, members of the Board of Trustees of the Pension Fund Operators of Nigeria, management and staff of the National Pension Commission, fellow members of the Pension Fund Operators Association of Nigeria, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is my utmost pleasure to welcome you all to the second edition of an annual retreat for legislators involved in pension and pension-related matters. However, before I proceed, I would like to congratulate the newly elected lawmakers of the 9th Senate. Your victory at the polls is a testament to the fact that the members of your various constituencies have placed their faith in you, and we are confident that you would repay that faith with hard work and commitment to improving the lot of Nigerians. Your attendance at this retreat is a confirmation of that fact, and we thank you. The members of your constituency who embody the larger Nigerian society invariably fall into a number of categories. These will include those employed in the formal private sector, those employed in the civil service, that's federal or state, the self-employed or informally employed, those who are retired, and those who are unemployed. Pensions affect all these groups of people. Those who are employed either by the private or public sector will give their best during their active years, knowing that they have a pension to fall back on in their retirement. For the self-employed and informal workers, the pension savings are probably their only savings vehicle, helping to instill the discipline of long-term savings. For the retired, it provides succor and dignity in their twilight years. For the unemployed, the investments by the pension industry enables the economy to grow, thereby creating jobs in the process. So it is evident that a well-functioning, transparent, and effective pension system is critical for all groups of Nigerians and our nation at large. An efficient pension industry will reduce the menace of corruption because individuals will be assured that they have funds they can fall back on during their retirement. May I remind us that for the first time in Nigeria's history, we have a national pension scheme that works. Retirees get paid on a monthly basis, no stories. For those who participated in the CPS and later lost their jobs, they are able to access up to 25% of the funds pending when they find a new job. Ladies and gentlemen, I repeat, the scheme works. That is not to say that there are no challenges. It behoves on us to not only protect the gains of the pension reforms, but to also deliberate on ways to make it more efficient in order to capture more Nigerians and enable them benefit from what some contributors are already enjoying. As a background on PenOp, as some of our distinguished and honorable legislators may already know, the Pension Fund Operators Association of Nigeria is a trade body. It is a voluntary association of operators in the pension industry and was initiated by the Pension Reform Act 2004 as updated to the Pension Reform Act 2014. PenOp consists of 4 pension fund custodians, 7 closed pension fund administrators, and 22 pension fund administrators. The main objectives of PenOp revolve around creating awareness to the general public, promoting development of the scheme, encouraging its members to operate at the highest professional standards, and supporting the interests and welfare of all members to the contributory pension scheme. PenOp also upholds high corporate governance standards. The association is superintended by a governing council comprising of a body of trustees and the executive committee. Currently, the association has the following prominent and eminent Nigerians as trustees: Professor Fabian Ajogu, SAN, Ms. Daisy Ekine, Madam N.K. Ahmad, and Madam Bello Kanchigo. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome Ms. Daisy Ekine in our midst. Thank you, Madam. We appreciate you. N.K. Ahmad was supposed to be here, but unfortunately he had a family emergency and sends his apologies. Operators are regulated by the National Pension Commission. From inception, under the very able leadership of N.K. Ahmad, an effective structure, including a close supervisory framework, was put in place. We are appreciative of our regulators' efforts, which have no doubt contributed immensely to the continued success of the scheme. The importance of this legislative engagement. As an association, PenOp is aware of the importance of this forum in ensuring the growth and improvement of the pension industry. The industry was created and continues to operate under laws which are within your legislative government. As the industry assumes more prominence, issues are bound to arise around the contributory pension scheme and its effect on welfare of pensions. This is not unusual with any developing system, and PenOp is pleased to debate the ways to improve the implementation and administration of the scheme and the legislative attention that pensions continues to demand. Certain developments in the industry have proved rather challenging. This is especially in the area of perennial agitations and efforts in certain quarters to fragment the scheme and the industry. Some other challenges include compliance in general, as well as the lack of funding of accrued rights by the federal government. Needless to say that our members will greatly benefit from your valuable inputs on ways of addressing these and other challenges. This is in the interest of the Nigerians we serve and the enormous potential for contributing to the development of the Nigerian economy. Of note also is the agitation to utilize pension funds for infrastructure. Whilst in principle there is no objection to this, it is owners of funds that assures the owners of the funds that they can access their monies as and when due. Returns also need to be competitive, as this is part of the funds that are utilized in retirement. I would like to point out that it is a myth that pension funds are lying idle and not used for development of the nation. In fact, over 70% of pension funds are already invested in government securities for the benefit of the economy. In conclusion, the lack of institutions and structures remain the bane of underdeveloped economies. This can arise by derogating from existing laws rather than bolstering and strengthening laws. The present CPS has so far proven largely to be efficient, effective, and beneficial as a pension administration system. And our collective focus and objective should be on how to enhance gains. With this in mind, I would like to urge everyone to please take full and active part in the discussions and deliberations that will happen in the course of this retreat. The speakers chosen are all seasoned professionals, issues in the sector. Without further ado, I would like to welcome you all once again to this retreat, and I look forward to meeting with everyone and having fruitful deliberations that will lead to actionable strategies and solutions that will markedly improve the fortunes of the pension industry and improve the lot of the Nigerians we serve. Once again, welcome and God bless you all.
Thank you, our able committee on establishment and public service. Our most distinguished Senator Mbiki Barinada is here. Senator Suleiman Adukwari, member Senate Committee on Establishment and Public Service, is here with us. Can we welcome him warmly, please? Most distinguished Senator Oke Jeff, member Senate Committee on Establishment and Public Service, here with us. Can we welcome him most warmly? Our trustee. We have a number of honorable members, not in any order of protocol. But please, can we welcome Honorable Nsodu Benjamin Ben? Thank you. Can we welcome Honorable Abejide Leke Joseph? Thank you. Can we welcome also Honorable Manu Soro Mosu? Thank you. Can we welcome Honorable Afe Anthony? Thank you for coming, sir. Can we welcome Honorable Diko Rob for coming, sir? Can we welcome Honorable Akijo? Thank you for coming. And can we welcome Honorable Adigu Abbas Adekule? Last but not the least, but representing the DG on this occasion, Mr. Ehimeme Ohioma, you're welcome. My colleague, the CEO of the Director General National Pension Commission, Mr. Ehimeme Ohioma, to come and give the keynote address on behalf of our artist DG.
Firstly, let me just apologize on behalf of the Acting Director General for not being able to make this occasion. She has a meeting in the Office of the Secretary of Government this morning in furtherance of the course of ensuring that this scheme runs. Let me begin the address of the Acting Director General by joining the chairperson of PenOp to welcome the distinguished senators and honorable members of the House of Representatives to the 2019 PenOp retreat holding here in New York, Akwa Ibom State. The theme of this retreat, the pension industry, the way forward, is apt and topical in the face of contemporary developments in the Nigerian pension landscape and the Nigerian economy as a whole. The contributory pension scheme was established to address challenges bedeviling the erstwhile retirement benefit system, the pay-as-you-go stroke defined benefit pension system in the public sector, as well as the Provident Fund, Nigerian Social Insurance Trust Fund, which operated in the private sector. These erstwhile schemes were unsustainable and characterized by inefficiencies, paucity of funds, inadequate budgetary provisions for salaries and pensions, opaque and cumbersome administrative structures, low coverage, and ineffective regulations and supervision. The CPS, and in the last 15 years, have made appreciable progress in addressing most of the shortfalls of these erstwhile pension schemes. As of 30th September 2019, the pension industry membership had grown to 8.85 million participants, while the pension fund assets under management were valued at 9.58 trillion and deployed in critical sectors of the Nigerian economy. The number of retirees under the CPS as of 30th September 2019 amounted to 298,614 retirees. Out of that number, 227,400 retirees are on program withdrawal under the PFAs, and 71,214 opted for annuity, which is the product of the insurance companies. In the same vein, death benefits have been paid to 59,057 beneficiaries. These statistics are clear evidence that the CPS has greatly improved access to retirement benefits for employees in both the public and private sectors. The CPS is, however, not without its challenges, the primary ones being inadequate funding of the retirement bond redemption fund account in the central bank for payment of accrued rights of retiring federal government employees, and agitations by some agencies of government to pull out of the CPS. Other challenges are operational, arising from implementation hiccups. It is in this regard that this retreat is very important for the pension industry. The National Assembly, especially the Committee on Establishment and Public Service of the Senate, and the House of Representatives Committee on Pensions are key stakeholders in shaping the direction of the pension industry and keeping the momentum of the reform in the sector, while making sure that the interests of Nigerians participating in the scheme are protected. It is our hope, therefore, that the licensed pension operators will use this opportunity to further enlighten our distinguished senators and honorable representatives on topical issues in the industry, as well as stimulate discussions and dimension their perspectives on the way forward. As far as the Commission is concerned, The present management under the Acting Director General has prioritized and is working towards the full implementation of the following ongoing initiatives. The Enhanced Contribution Registration System, ECRS. The ECRS will ensure data cleanup and facilitate the enrollment of participants in the micro-pension scheme and the opening of the transfer window for RSA holders to move from one PFA to another seamlessly. Deployment of pension assets into critical sectors of the Nigerian economy. More effective deployment of pension assets into hardcore and social infrastructure is important, e.g. roads, rails, healthcare, education. But this must be done at purely commercial, profitable terms. Discussions are already ongoing with the Nigerian Sovereign Wealth Investment Authority, the Nigerian Mortgage Refinance Company, the Financial Market Dealers Quotation, the Nigerian Stock Exchange, InfraCredit, and other relevant stakeholders to bring this to fruition. The micro-pension scheme. This was launched earlier in the year by Mr. President, and this will enable participants in CPS for informal sector workers, self-employed persons, and owners, employees of small-scale business enterprises, as listed there, to participate in the pension scheme. Their participation will assist them take care of themselves at old age, as well as increase the pool of pension assets. In concluding this address, we're indeed delighted that this retreat is holding at this auspicious and early days of the 9th National Assembly. We look forward to the understanding, cooperation, and guidance of the esteemed chairman and members of both committees in taking the Nigerian pension industry to greater heights. I wish us happy deliberations. Thank you.
Can we clap for the representative of the DG? Recognize the members of the executive of PenOp. We have Mr. Bayo Yusuf, our treasurer. If I don't recognize him, I won't be paid. So I better recognize him very well. Hamza Wuru Toki, doctor. And if I ask change of is Dr. Double. We also have in our meeting your time, we're going to go to the next paper. After the next paper, with the permission of the chairman, we are going to have
public service. The chairman, House Committee on Pensions, Honorable Kabiru Al-Hassan Usman Gungun, Rona Bukare, Kibiya APC, Turaki Rami. Honorable members of the House Committee on Pensions, the Director General of the National Pension Commission, Ajia Aisha Dairu Usman, ably represented by Mr. Ehimebe Ehioma, fellow members of the Board of Trustees of the Pension Fund Operators of Nigeria here present, management and staff of the National Pension Commission, President and members of the Pension Fund Operators Association of Nigeria, members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is an honor and privilege to be part of a retreat that brings together the key stakeholders in the pension industry. Being a family meeting, the forum will provide an opportunity for open communications and a safe place for members to express their views as we collectively take decisions to address the emerging challenges in the industry. I commend the Pension Fund Operators Association of Nigeria, PenOps, for putting together this forum to engage critical stakeholders for the overall growth of the pension industry in Nigeria. The growth of any industry is premised on constant dialogue and communications among key stakeholders. PenCom and operators had built a strong, robust stakeholder engagement framework which has significantly assisted in the growth and development of the pension industry. So I am very happy that the relationship that the Commission had forged with stakeholders at the onset is still being maintained, and I urge you all to continue to keep it this way. Whilst I no longer actively participate in the activities of the industry, for my few engagements and interactions with colleagues, I am pleased to acknowledge that distinguished senators and members of the House have continued to support the industry. We are therefore most grateful to the lawmakers for the support over the years towards the growth and stability of the pension industry. Again, I urge you all to continue with the rich legacy of cooperation between the National Assembly and the pension industry. Having said all this, it is important to note that even though we are not where we used to be, we are also not where we need to be as an industry. As the saying goes, the greatest room in the world is the room for improvement. In essence, when we talk about the way forward for the pension industry in Nigeria, we are really talking about what improvements and innovations can we collectively add to move the industry forward. I am particularly pleased that within the 7 years since I left the Commission, the pension fund assets had literally doubled from 4.7 trillion naira in 2011 to 9.8 trillion naira as at October this year. This is an incredible improvement. The question to ask are twofold. First, what do we do as an industry to ensure that as a minimum, pension fund assets double at least every 5 years? The second question is, what are the potential roadblocks that will hinder the growth trajectory of the industry as an enabler of economic development and a safety net for many as this country would otherwise not have had any form of fallback in their retirement years? I will talk about factors that will ensure continuous growth of the industry. The first issue, in my view, is for the federal government to prioritize the payment of accrued rights of retirees. Although the government had been religiously paying the monthly pension contribution based on the old rate, it has not been able to meet up with the adequate and regular payment of accrued pension rights. This is causing unfold hardship and pain to many who have been waiting for years for retirement savings accounts to be funded appropriately. This is not negotiable, and we should constantly bring this up at every opportunity until these accrued rights are funded by government. Although PenOp had been statutorily empowered by the PRA 2014 to direct at the Accountant General of the Federation to deduct at source unpaid accrued pension rights, the power had never been exercised because of political constraints. The continued success of the pension industry would largely be hinged on the ability of employers to honor their obligations as and when due. In the recent past, members of the National Assembly had assisted in getting the government to accelerate the payment of the arrears of accrued pension rights. It would appear another tier of unpaid obligations have been built, and the industry would once again require the collective effort of all stakeholders for the timely payment of the accrued rights. It should be reiterated, the hallmark of the pension reform is the establishment of a fully funded scheme that guarantees the payment of retirement benefits as and when due. However, while the funding of the accrued rights of federal government retirees is being awaited, there is a strong call for retirees to be allowed to access part of their annual estate balance in the meantime by programmed withdrawals. In addition, there is the urgent need to fund the shortfall in the ROSs of retiring political office holders by the federal government as provided by the Pension Reform Act 2014, so as to enable the payments of the equivalent of their monthly salary at retirement. Closely related to this is the issue of the right of pensioners to pension review as per section 39, subsection 3 of the PRA 2014. This will go a long way to make the pensioners feel valued and appreciated, especially as the provision is a right as entrenched in section 173 subsection 3 of the 1999 Constitution. Where pensioners who retire under the default pension scheme do enjoy pension increases, those retiring under the new scheme have not been that lucky, despite several proposals by the Commission. Related to the first point is the need for state governments to be compliant with the provision of the PRA 2014 and also fund their pension liabilities. The non-compliance by a number of states negates the intent of the Act and the spirit of the pension reform. Since the government at all levels employ the greatest number of Nigerians, the funding of accrued rights and compliance to the Act by state governments will go a long way in ensuring that more Nigerians benefit from the pension reforms. I am aware that a bill is being sponsored to compel state governments to comply and to criminalize non-payment of pension liabilities. This is a step in the right direction, and I urge you, as the representatives of the good people of Nigeria, to get behind the piece of legislation. The first set of issues I enumerated has to do with non-payment of pension liabilities. However, in some cases, deductions are actually made and payments are indeed done, but the employers are using the old rate of 15% under the 204 Act, as opposed to the new rate of 18% as stipulated under the 2014 Amended Act. Essentially, we need to ensure compliance, both in respect of payments for those who do not pay at all and for the correct percentage to be paid by those who still use the previous rate. In addition, we need to stipulate consequences for non-compliance and look for ways to incentivize those those who are compliant. Again, this is where you, senators and representatives, would play a significant role in ensuring that effective legislations are made to address the identified challenges. Speaking about incentives, we need to remove any form of encumbrances to both the employer and contributor, whether mandatory or voluntary, from making these contributions in the scheme. We have so far reviewed the contributions and compliance side of the pension scheme. Now, let us review the investment of the funds. This is another critical factor that will enhance the growth of the industry. We need to constantly review the scope of employed pension contributions in. We are aware that the investment climate is very dynamic and I must add though that we must find the balance. I've had the value of their contribution eroded by over 100% in this period for no fault of yours or the fund managers. In this regard, the investment of a portion of pension fund is permissible in foreign assets is an issue that needs to be at the front burner. Because we look at the PRA 2014 section 87 subsection 1 shows that there is allowance for the investment of pension funds outside Nigeria. But this area has remained fairly unoperational with negative long-term implications for contributors as enunciated above. However, Section 87, subsection 2 of the Act states that the Commission is subject to subsisting Central Bank of Nigeria exchange rate rule, recommend to the President for approval portfolio limits for investment of pension funds or assets outside the territory of Federal Republic of Nigeria. It is imperative that PenOp and the operators engage the Central Bank of Nigeria to develop a workable framework to assess foreign exchange for pension fund investment for the benefit of RSA holders in the immediate future. Going forward, however, I will strongly suggest that the need for presidential assent be removed and replaced with the power of the board of the Commission to issue investment regulation for foreign investments as is done in a number of North and South American countries. This can be achieved by collaboration between the operators, PenOp, and legislators. However, this is not urgent as the process has not been tested. There is a need to encourage development of enabling framework for pension funds to facilitate national development. In this case, PPP rules need to be strengthened at both the national and state levels. Africa Infrastructure Collaboration Initiative projects, road, rail, telecommunications, powers, etc., should be promoted. There is also need to promote credit enhancement market, the short-term to promote credit enhancement market in the short term. Currently, InfraCredit is virtually the only private institution backed by MDFOs providing such guarantees, incentives in Nigeria. However, enabling environments such as policies on project preparation to enable quality project issuance need to be established so as to work ourselves out of the provision of guarantees in the future. The spirit of the Pension Act is primarily to ensure that individuals who have spent their active lives working will get decent benefits at retirement. This is one of the reasons why the withdrawal of the contribution are tax exempt. While the dividends that pension funds earn from their equity investments are tax exempt, they still pay value-added tax on their equity traded transaction. And this, I believe, should not be so, as it raises their acquisition cost on these assets and invariably reduces the income accruable to the contributors. Pension administration is very technical. It involves registration, contribution, collection, investment of contributions, administration of retirement benefits, customer service, and regulation. Each of these areas is sophisticated and supported by highly sophisticated systems. Thus, there is need for the industry to support continuous capacity building on the workings of the scheme among stakeholders. Distinguished legislators, ladies and gentlemen, We have looked at one side of the coin and tried to enumerate areas that will enhance the pension scheme as currently structured. We also need to look at potential issues that can jeopardize the growth of the pension industry we have collectively labored for over the years. One, the first is the constant clamor for amendment of the Act, which are oftentimes for frivolous reasons. I am a firm believer that if something is not working well, it needs to be changed. But why change something that is working well? Yes, we must seek to amend portions of the Act for the benefit of the contributors in particular and the nation as a whole. But these amendments should be well thought out, reasoned and debated as we are doing here today. So, distinguished senators and honorable members, in the light of the comprehensive amendment of the Act in 2014, after 10 years of enactment, I urge you not to entertain uninformed amendments to the Act, not backed by any need to improve portions thereof, or that are not consistent with the spirit of the Act, which is to provide benefits for retirees and ensure formation of long-term capital for national development. The second is also to clamor by certain groups or classes of people to leave the scheme under any guise. The strength of any effective pension scheme is in numbers and influence. When funds are pulled together, the operating cost is lower and returns are invariably higher for the funds and contributors. We need to leverage the numbers of the contributors and seek ways to increase the current contributors rather than have group breaking out. Also, fully funded pension scheme is the only sustainable scheme. All over the world, pension funds provide long-term capital that is used to fund infrastructure that catalyze national growth and development. In Nigeria's case, we came from a position where we were not able to pull together these long-term funds in a transparent manner. The reform that culminated in the Act of 2204 have enabled us as a nation for the first time to pool funds in a transparent manner, such that we have a little over 9.8 trillion naira as our total pension fund in Nigeria today. We cannot afford to filter the work done over the last 15 years to go to waste by clamor for investments in projects that are not bankable, viable, and self-sustaining. Everyone should be vigilant so that these funds are not used to fund white elephant projects that destroy value for the industry, the contributors, and the nation in general. However, I urge PenOp and operators to be more creative and collaborative in seeking ways that these funds can be deployed for infrastructural development. There were always agitation to increase the lump sum payments received at retirement from the stipulated 25%. I understand this agitation still continues. This is driven by a total lack of understanding of what pensions are meant for. The intention of pension contribution is to provide a similar lifestyle to what one was living on whilst they were working. This will be severely jeopardized if a significant lump sum is provided to them upon retirement, with the consequences of these funds being filtered away by the beneficiary if they receive the lump sum at once, as proposed by a structured program, as against the structured program withdrawal. The stability and confidence in pension industry will continue to depend on independent and competent board of directors for the commission. It is our hope and prayer that a board for the commission will be constituted very soon. A well-constituted and functioning board gives the regulator the needed legitimacy and enables them to take decisions that are well thought out, in addition to ensuring that they are able to respond more quickly to the changing environment. In order to respond to corporate governance challenges, especially among public limited companies, the Financial Reporting Council of Nigeria issued the Nigeria Code of Corporate Governance 2018. It is expected that PenOp, as one of the key institutional investors, should promote and ensure strong corporate culture in the companies they invest in. As many employees are retiring and electing annuity as option to access their retirement benefits, it is important that the Commission continuously engage the National Insurance Commission to ensure that retirees and their benefits are protected. The initial memorandum of understanding and joint regulation should be reviewed to address emerging developments. We should always remember that the ultimate responsibility and mandate for the safety of and stability of the pension industry squarely rests with the Commission, regardless of the mode of accessing retirement benefits. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, you will recall that I mentioned at the beginning of my presentation that I am comfortable because I am amongst family members. Therefore, I can speak straight from my heart. See your role as operators, legislators, and regulators as a call to service. A call to service to serve these Nigerians that have no voice. Those Nigerians that have worked diligently, hoping to retire to a decent life. Do not take this call lightly. If we get this right, posterity will judge us fairly, and we all can retire in peace, knowing that we have created a system for millions of Nigerians to also retire in peace. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to the deliberations that will follow in this course of the day.
United States. He died this morning after a brief illness. We pray for the repose of the soul of the
National Association of Insurance and Pension Correspondents of Nigeria, ably represented by their president here, Mrs. Omobola Toluku.
And pray for the repose of the soul of our honorable member.
The identification is to their person, and they do their contributions as and when they feel they can make contributions. These contributions are made to the pension fund custodians, and I'm sure in the course of these deliberations, we've been told that we have 4 pension fund custodians. The entire scheme has inbuilt controls to minimize or eliminate abuses. So as PFAs, we do not get to see the physical fund. Rather, those monies are contributed into bank accounts of the custodians, and those accounts, those bank custodians are actually backed by banks. There are certain requirements which I don't think I will go into in details here. So the PFA, as soon as we receive notification from the custodians that the monies have been received, supported by schedules, we credit the RSAs of the employees. We do this on daily basis. And for members of the National Assembly, it is important to note that these transactions can actually run into hundreds of thousands and millions of transactions on a daily basis. So we do invest in technology, and there is a strong collaboration between ourselves and the pension fund custodians, and obviously our regulators who ensure that things are seamless. Now, as soon as those RSAs are credited, it does mean that those funds are available for investment. And we now begin the act of investing those funds. So we have, all of us have investment departments who will do some critical analysis, seek certain administrative approvals before we invest the funds. And then this continues for a number of months, depending on how long our customers serve with us. In the public service, the retirement age is either 60 or about 35 years in service. In the private sector, there is to a large extent no retirement age, but you cannot access your account until you attain the age of 50. If you have to leave your job before the age of 50, you get what we call temporary access, which is limited to just about 25% of your RSA balance. To make those withdrawals, today we seek the approval of the National Pension Commission. And this is very important, an industry that is just 14 years